Ever wonder why some people can skip a meal or wait a little bit longer for their snack and feel just fine and totally stable, while other people completely crash out or turn hangry without having a little snack? So back in the day, I didn't even realize this was a problem, but I was walking around all the time with snacks in my bag. Like I could not leave the house without making sure I had a snack in my bag. That's because if I went too long between meals, I would actually completely crash out. And I didn't realize that this wasn't normal. This like hangry kind of situation, not normal. So one way you could think about metabolic flexibility is being able to skip a meal or wait a little bit longer to eat without being completely like unhinged, right? Now, what I'm not advocating for is to regularly skip meals just for ha-has, but I want you to understand that in a metabolically flexible body, you are able to efficiently go between a fed state and a fasted state very easily. It's like a smooth transition of a car. It's like driving a car that's automatic and it knows how to go from 0 to 60 and to switch gears on its own versus learning how to drive a stick shift and you've never driven a stick shift before and you're stalling and you don't know how to change gears. So what we want is that smooth transition from using the carbohydrates and the nutrients in your meal after you've eaten to when your stomach is empty, being able to then use the fat reserve in your body effectively to fuel your body to keep going. Most people, when you're metabolically inflexible, are stuck in sugar burning mode. That means that in between meals, if you don't feed yourself, you're going to crash and burn because you're not very good or efficient at tapping into your fat stores. This can also impact your overnight fast because you're going 7, 8, 9, 10 hours between your last meal and your first meal, and you don't have sufficient fuel overnight. That can also start to impact other stress signals like your cortisol and your adrenal glands. This is also why a lot of people don't do well when they initially start keto because they're eating all these high fat foods and they're not eating as many carbohydrates and their body's all of a sudden like sent into shock mode that it's forced to use a fuel that it's not as good at metabolizing. So a lot of people don't do well initially or might even quit or fail on keto because they don't feel good in that initial few days. So what I want you to understand when I talk about being able to effectively use fat, that doesn't mean I want you to eat keto all the time. If that's something that works for you or there is a specific reason why you're using a ketogenic diet, that's fine and fair. But I think for most people, and if your goal specifically is building muscle and improving metabolic flexibility, eating keto all the time is not necessarily going to be your long-term sustainable goal. Instead, what I want you to think about is how to get your body to the point where efficiently can switch between low carb and high carb eating and also utilize the right kind of fuel at the right time during prolonged activities, intermittent fasting, overnight fasting, or even how it uses the fuel at a particular meal. There are also some other factors that can lead to metabolic inflexibility. Besides the diet that you're eating that might be high in processed foods or inflammatory foods that may not be nutrient dense enough to feed and fuel your body by balancing the right amount of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. For example, chronic stress, poor sleep, lack of exercise, all of these contribute to more metabolic flexibility. And as your body composition changes and you lose muscle mass and you gain fat, especially visceral fat or certain types of subcutaneous fat, that starts to give us a clue that you're leaning more towards metabolic inflexibility, and actually low muscle mass drives more metabolic inflexibility. That's why I focus so much on body composition and increasing muscle mass. It's both a symptom and a solution to the problem. When we raise our muscle mass, we often get improved insulin sensitivity and improved metabolic flexibility.